Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 worst JRPG party members. Here, we'll be recounting characters from classic RPGs who are just terrible in battle. I'm not going to be focusing on characters who are terribly annoying outside of battle. That's a different list for another time. This list will be followed up by at least a part 2 because even after listing these 10, I can still think of 10 more that suck just as bad. So, let's get started thinking about the worst of the worst. Number 10, Cid of Final Fantasy IV. Real talk. Everybody here claims that Edward and Tella are the worst characters in this game, but let me make my case for Cid. Tella joins you first for the underground waterway, and he's a powerhouse in there. Then, when he joins you up later, he learns a crap ton of spells, and he's your sole mage for 2 entire dungeons. Edward only joins in the early game, and then only for 2 dungeons, and at least he can salve. But Cid is an entirely different story. Joining you for 2 of the hardest dungeons in the game, he does nothing to help bolster your party. He's a straight-up attacker, offering nothing except for his useless peep ability, and then he's not nearly as good as Yang or Cecil. Cid just pounds things over their head with his hammer, which incidentally has the lowest accuracy in the game. He just sucks. Number 9, Samson of Beyond the Beyond. I can't begin to express what an absolute disappointment Samson is. Before you get him, there's just so much fuss made about how strong he is. Everybody just goes on and on about it, so you're thrilled to have him, especially in such a hard game. But then, immediately after he joins, he gets cursed, which randomly paralyzes and poisons him. It generally just makes him completely useless, and this curse lasts for a full 50% of the game. Then, once he's finally uncursed, his stats don't improve in the slightest. He's just not poisoned and paralyzed all the time. To add insult to injury, you know who can consistently hit just as strongly as he can? Annie, your white mage. Yeah, and some tank he supposedly is. He can't even survive all that well because his VP and LP are just abysmal. And, for the cherry on top, he's the only party member who can't use any magic at all. Number 8, Shir of Phantasy Star 2. Yeah, Hugh sucks too, but he's a subject for a different video. Let's talk about the last party member to join your team, Shir. Most of the time, getting the last party member in an RPG is something to look forward to, but not here. She adds nothing of value to your team. Outside of battle, if she's level 10 or higher, she can steal from shops, which is a novelty, I guess. But in battle, talk about a letdown. Her techs aren't really useful at all, and her TP growth is horrible, so you really can't use them anyway. She can only really use daggers, which are like the worst weapon choice too. The only thing that she really has is her speed, but if she has nothing actually useful to do on her turn, what's the point? She's simply just outclassed by everyone else around her. Number 7, Adray of Star Ocean 3. Black mages in Star Ocean games are already pretty terrible across the board, but Adray just takes the cake. As a required, last-minute addition to the director's cut version of the game, he's pretty much just an incomplete character. He doesn't even have an endgame armor, for God's sake. Everything about him is just an afterthought. His skills are extremely unwieldy, and with everything that he can do, there's just another party member that can quite simply do it better. Specializing in melee attacks and black magic, there's better party members for that, and because you can only use 3 members in battle, you can really only afford to use the best of the best. Even when I'm just being completely shallow and evaluating him on his hot muscle daddy body. Cliff does that better too. Number 6, Gobi of Breath of Fire. Breath of Fire games can really sweep this category. All the games have some truly terrible, useless party members. From the first game though, Gobi is a complete waste. Here's the deal. As a member of the Manila race, he specializes in water-based attacks. So much so that his magic can only be used underwater. However, here's the big kicker, he only joins you after all the underwater sections of the game are already done. Like, he had potential. If the game actually allowed him to join your party when you first meet him, and then if he traveled with you underwater, then at least he would be good for like an hour or two, but no, they had to go and screw it up. So basically he's only useful for his transformations with Karn. At least Capcom realized that he's nothing but transformation fodder by making him mandatory in 3 out of the 4 possible transformations. I mean, does anybody else not really use Nina, Blue, and transformed Karn as their final party? Number 5. Rafa and Malak of Final Fantasy Tactics. What did we do to deserve this? Here we get 2 terrible characters for the price of 1. The twins have the worst exclusive job in the game, and their story bears little weight in the overall plot. Truth and untruth hit enemies randomly, and even then for barely any damage at all. Rafa gets bonus points in her useless factor because when you first encounter him, it's an escort mission and you fail if they die. So, what does this brain trust do? She runs up to the assassins and gets one shot before you have a chance to do anything. I will say this though, at least she has low brave so she can find good items on the map, so I guess that is one use for her, but her brother? He's shit 6 ways from Sunday. Number 4. Umaro of Final Fantasy VI. Remember the Berserker class in Final Fantasy V? The one class that no one in their right mind would ever use? Well, that's Umaro. He's berserked 100% of the time, and therefore completely and utterly worthless. Imagine that you need to use an item to revive your party. Too bad. Need to cast some magic for some reason? Not him. Want to hold back on trashing an enemy until Locke successfully steals an item from it? Good luck with that. As the ultimate screw you, he also can't equip any espers to gain level up bonuses, and even after you get his 2 unique relics, he's still just exceptionally worse than everybody else. Even Gao, who's your other Berserker character, has some redeeming qualities. You can choose which rage that you want to use for each battle, and many of his rages are extremely overpowered. Also, if for some reason you don't want to use him to rage, you could also have him cast magic or defend, but not Umaro. Number 3. Ceramic of the Magical Land of Waz. I've spoken about my love for Waz many times before, but boy do I hate Ceramic. Here, you have a typical 4-person party where 3 of the members are mandatory. However, who you're using in the 4th slot is completely up to you. There are a lot of characters that you can choose from over the course of the game to fill up that 4th slot. However, some are most definitely better than others, and Ceramic is easily the worst of the bunch. Having the stats of a mage, she should have the spells to back it up too, but her spells are the most useless ones available because every single one is just a status healing spell. She gets extremely specific magic that only work to cure poison, stone, sleep, stuff like that. Literally nothing else. I mean, her entire spell list is replaced by items that you can buy for 10 gold at the shop. It's just outrageous that they made such a terrible character. Number 2. Jagen of Fire Emblem. Do you want to permanently gimp your army? And is permadeath not enough to do that? Then come, use Jagen. He'll steal all of your army's experience and give you back nothing in return. And what's better, there's a new Jagen in every single frickin' Fire Emblem. It's so common that there's a Jagen archetype on the Fire Emblem wiki. Essentially, when they first join, they seem overpowered, and then they tend to suck up tons of experience since they get so many kills. But their stat gains after that are abysmal, so if you keep on using them for any length of time, your whole army becomes screwed. This is especially egregious in the earlier games of the series since there are no grinding spots, and if your characters are underleveled or just unlucky, they can get killed permanently. The guy's just a wolf in sheep's clothing out to screw over your team. And number 1, Joker of Shining Force. He's just gotta be a joke character, but the joke's on you. He does nothing constructive and is only there to be a deadweight in your party. The poor guy can't level up at all, and his stats are locked at 1, and so is his damage. The only thing that he can do is find a ring that changes other character sprites into Joker whenever he does finally kill an enemy. So if you care about that, I guess you could use him. I think that they thought he was cute or something, but in reality, he's just a worthless piece of trash. Well, that's it for the top 10 worst JRPG characters. Who are yours and why? Let me know in the comments, and they might be featured in the inevitable part 2. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.